man has died after being attacked by a shark off the coast of the northeastern Australian state of Queensland. Police have confirmed emergency services were called to a boat ramp on the Cassowary coast between the cities of Cairns and Townsville just before noon local time on Sunday, following reports of a 39-year-old being attacked while swimming out at a nearby shoal.
California Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency as crews race to contain a toxic chemical leak at a manufacturing facility in Orange County. A tank containing about 7,000 gallons of methyl methacrylate, a highly volatile and flammable substance used to make plastic, was at risk of failure, officials warned. Thousands of Garden Grove residents are under evacuation orders as a precaution. A man has died after a shark attack off the coast of Queensland in northeast Australia. Police say the man was rushed to shore after being bitten on Sunday near Kennedy Shoal, a shallow reef about 45 kilometres, 28 miles off the coast, a Queensland Police Service spokesperson said.
Goma. Democratic Republic of the Congo, attacks on Ebola health facilities are intensifying in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, as the World Health Organization warns the outbreak could worsen in the DRC and Uganda on Thursday. The Rwampara Health Centre was stormed by a group of angry residents demanding the bodies of relatives who had died from Ebola, according to local sources. The incident was also confirmed by partners of the Congolese government involved in the response in the area. Rawalpindi, Pakistan. On a cold January morning, Anam Shakur gallops across a field wrapped in a black shawl that billows behind her as she charges forward, a 1.8-metre 6-foot lance gripped tightly in her hand. The 30-year-old has already claimed her first peg. The second lies close ahead.
Ukraine's unbeaten heavyweight world champion Oleksandr Usyk has stopped Dutch former kickboxer Rico Verhoeven with 1 second left in the penultimate round of a WBC title fight to avoid one of the greatest boxing upsets of all time. The Glory in Giza fight, held at the Pyramids of Egypt on Saturday, was considered a mismatch, but Verhoeven, whose sole previous in mind-ball boxing fight was 12 years ago, tore up the script in mind-boggling fashion from the opening bell.
In Lahore, food is never merely food. It is memory, migration, performance, class, longing and history carried on the tongue. Few places embody this truth more vividly than Gawalmandi, a dense and storied neighbourhood in central Lahore, whose narrow streets, smoky grills, old facades and crowded eateries became inseparable from the cultural imagination of the city. To speak of Gawalmandi is to speak of Lahore itself, a city built through displacement, improvisation, coexistence and reinvention. Until recently, Gawalmandi has been celebrated primarily for its famous food street, for sizzling kebabs, fragrant harissa, fried fish, douche jalebi and late-night crowds that gather under strings of lights. Yet reducing Gawalmandi to a culinary destination alone would flatten its layered historical significance. The neighbourhood is also a site through which one can understand urban modernity in South Asia, the social consequences of partition, and the transformation of everyday life in post-colonial cities. Through the writings of historians and theorists such as Gyan Prakash, Ashamin, and Arjuna Padurai, Gawalmandi can be read not simply as a neighbourhood, but as an urban text, a space where memory, mobility, intimacy, and commerce converge. The literary recollections of A. Hamid, Ahmad Shuja Pasha, and Pran Neville further illuminate how Lahore's cultural worlds were built through ordinary people, shared spaces, and everyday encounters.
Quetta. Several people are feared dead after a blast tore through a shuttle train near Chamanfatak in Quetta on Sunday morning. State-run APP, citing railway authorities, said the shuttle train was heading from Quetta cantonment to the railway station when it was targeted near Chamanfatak shortly after 8 a.m.
One person has been killed and 21 others injured after Russia launched a large wave of missile and drone strikes on the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. Explosions were heard across the city, with Mayor Vitaly Klitschko writing on Telegram that damage has been reported in all districts, including residential buildings and schools. The national wheat sector has once again entered a deep economic and policy crisis, exposing structural weaknesses in agricultural planning, procurement management, and food security governance. What initially appeared to be a routine procurement season has evolved into a confrontation between market realities and administrative controls, with farmers, flour millers, and policymakers locked in uncertainty. Taking stock of the situation, Punjab Chief Minister Mariam Nawaz this Thursday ordered strict action against traders who failed to declare their wheat stocks within 2 weeks, a move reflecting official concern over the size of the 2025-26 crop and fears of rising flour prices in the coming months.
This month, mixed signals emanated from India on the normalization of relations with Pakistan. Dattatreya Hosabale, Secretary-General of the Hindu extremist organization RSS, proposed in an interview that the window for dialogue with Pakistan should always be open. He argued for diplomatic ties, visa issuance, trade, and people-to-people contacts. His call was endorsed by several notables, including former Indian Army Chief Ret Gen Manoj Naravane.
Introduced by the Imran Khan administration 2018-2022, the controversial Single National Curriculum (SNC) represented a final institutional attempt to preserve a state-curated national narrative dating back to the 1970s. By the 2010s, this identity framework had begun to fracture under the weight of escalating sectarian violence, unprecedented Islamist terrorism, and fraying civil-military relations. The Islamist violence intensified alongside growing political friction between the military and the Pakistan People's Party, PP-led government that took power in 2008. The resulting instability triggered a national debate over the state's religious narrative.
The suspect in a shooting near the White House was killed in an exchange of fire with Secret Service agents on Saturday evening. Officials have confirmed. BBC's US media partner CBS has named the suspect as Nasir Best, a 21-year-old man who was known to the Secret Service and had a documented history of mental health conditions.
Helen Akalimali says she's taking every precaution against contracting Ebola, including always wearing a face mask in public. But her work as a cocoa seller in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, the epicenter of the latest outbreak, brings her into daily contact with other people, some of whom doubt the disease is even real, and she has no control over how they behave. Ebola is a real disease. People need to stop deluding themselves, said Akilimali, cautioning that misinformation, myths about the virus and lax attitudes are killing people. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif on Sunday hailed United States' preliminary efforts to pursue peace, saying the latter held a very useful and productive call with multiple countries' representatives, including Chief of Defense Forces and Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir. Trump held a phone call on Saturday with the leaders of Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, UAE, Jordan, and Pakistan.
Two policemen, two civilians also martyred in exchange of fire. Police defused 10-kilo bomb planted near Mosque Banu. A fierce clash erupted on Saturday between police, a peace committee and terrorists in the Barakzai Akunkul area of Miriam Tehsil in Banu district, leaving at least 25 terrorists dead and several others injured, police said.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif on Sunday congratulated United States President Donald Trump on his extraordinary efforts to pursue peace, saying he held a very useful and productive call with the leaders of multiple countries. Trump held a phone call with the leaders of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Turkey, Egypt, the UAE, Jordan and Pakistan, PM Shehbaz said.
Health Ministry directs provinces, border health services to remain on alert. Red Cross announces death of 3 volunteers in DRC. Uganda confirms 3 new cases, bringing total to 5. Viral disease threatens 10 nations, including Kenya and Rwanda, Islamabad. Pakistan has intensified screening measures at airports across the country, along with other precautionary steps amid the recent Ebola virus outbreak in Africa, the Health Ministry said on Saturday, a day after the World Health Organization upgraded the risk assessment for the disease.
I felt the whole ship shake. I thought there'd been some fault with the engine. But as soon as I stepped outside of my room, there was another explosion. Sunil Punia, 26, was on his first job at sea when a missile struck the oil tanker skylight in the early hours of the firm March. On Russian state TV, a news bulletin shows images of a 5-story building reduced to rubble. Teams of rescuers are sifting through debris.
Zigzagging through bustling streets, trolleys piled high with sheets of discarded cardboard. These elderly scavengers are hard to miss in Hong Kong. Many are in their 70s or older, hauling tens of kilograms of cardboard for a pittance in order to scrape by in one of Asia's richest cities.
US law enforcement agencies are responding to reports of shots fired near White House. There were no immediate reports of any injuries.
United States President Donald Trump has said that a memorandum of understanding in ceasefire, talks to end the US-Israel war with Iran, has been largely negotiated. Trump said on Saturday that the agreement will include reopening the Strait of Hormuz, adding that it remained subject to finalization by US and Iranian negotiators and various other countries.
Fjord, a thought-provoking drama about a Christian family in Norway from Romanian director Christian Mungiu, has won the Best Film Prize at the Cannes Film Festival. Mungiu won his 2nd Palme d'Or at a star-packed closing ceremony at the festival on Saturday.
Iran will base their squad in the Mexican border city of Tijuana during this year's World Cup, after football's world governing body FIFA approved a request to move their training camp from Arizona. The head of Iran's Football Federation said on Saturday, "We will be based in the Tijuana camp, which is near the Pacific Ocean and on the border between Mexico and the United States," Iran's Football Federation President Mehdi Taj said in a video posted on its Telegram social media account.
The United States and India are seeking to mend ties after a year of diplomatic seesaw during which tariffs were imposed and then quickly scrapped because of the US-Israel war on Iran. This is just one example of how international relations and conflict have become more complex and interlinked in recent years.
Solar Square, an Indian rooftop solar startup that helps households and housing societies adopt solar power, is in advanced talks to raise fresh capital after securing India's largest solar venture investment in December 2024. TechCrunch has learned Capital and Lightspeed venture partners are set to co-lead the Series C round, which could value Solar Square at between $450 million and $500 million, and bring in $55 million to $60 million in new investment, according to multiple people familiar with the matter. That would represent more than a doubling of Solar Square's valuation in roughly 18 months, a sign of how rapidly investor conviction is building around India's residential solar market.
NASCAR champion Kyle Busch died after severe pneumonia progressed into sepsis. His family has said in a statement released to The Athletic, a medical evaluation showed the illness resulted in rapid and overwhelming associated complications, the statement said.
US President Donald Trump has said Iran is getting a lot closer to reaching an agreement with the US on the war, as Tehran also signalled progress had been made in the past week. However, both sides have been cautious, and Iran's foreign ministry spokespersons said the key issue of nuclear weapons would not be part of any initial proposals.
Angry residents of a town at the epicenter of the Ebola outbreak in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, attacked and burned a tent that was part of a health centre where people are being treated for the virus, the staff there said Saturday. It was the second such attack in the region in a week. No one was hurt in the attack, according to initial reports. But as patients ran out to escape the fire, 18 people with suspected Ebola infections left the facility and are now unaccounted for, a local hospital director said.